the interrogation was very simple. Thousands of times, night and day, I was interrogated. What's your name? What the name of your father, mother, what is today? How old are you? And this was repeated 1,000 times. I felt that I became crazy. And sure, I was not able to answer it right now. I forgot my age, I forgot the name of my mother, I forgot what day you were. Really, I don't know today what it is. How could I knew? I know what day was the day of our arrest, was the second day or third day, so on. And mixing the things, the answering, giving wrong answer. They accuse me that I tried to deceive them. So, what are you hiding? What kind of bad thing deeds against the communist regime have you made? After 3 days and nights, I refused to answer. And I tried to pray. So they were answering behind, asking me. I answered nothing. I just tried to pray God. It was impossible. I wanted to stand our Father. I forgot after three or four verses. I forgot the rest. I was not able to again. And I remember that there's a prayer of Jesus Christ. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. It is a very short prayer. And I put my finger up there. And I was praying all the time. And I was able to say the whole sentence. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. They were asking me, I heard nothing. I heard nothing. I heard not their questions. I had I didn't heard their items. I was no more scared. And little by little I regained the quiet of the peace of my soul and my heart. Really, I started to be sick, not only psychologically, but my body was sick. My heart was pounding and that. But with this prayer, with Jesus Christ, I got the peace of the soul. And everything in my body was quiet, normal, and I was able to resist. And I told them, I have an answer for you. You know very well what I did. I did nothing underground, or like Jesus Christ, I preached in the temple. Really, I preached in the temple. If I preached outside the temple, it was because they closed my doors, not because I wanted to go overseas. I understood that my mission is to preach in the church. If not in the church, in the yard of the church. So I have nothing to tell to you. You know everything. Perhaps you know more than I know. Because I have hundreds of agents around. And I have nothing to tell you. If you wanted to kill me, you can kill me. If you want to let me free, let me free. I will go on with my preaching, because I cannot give up. It's my duty to preach the word of God anywhere, even in prison. And they started to be very angry with me. They started to hit me. I didn't answer. And they became very furious because one of the agents said to me, I know that you are praying for us now. And really, I was praying for them. I know that they are praying for us. But in the end, you finished to pray for everybody, because we convince you to give up Jesus Christ. I didn't answer, but in my soul, I was decided not to give up. In this time, meanwhile, there big pressure on Ceausescu regime not to kill me. Perhaps even between the Securitate and the spies. And all what happens during my arrest, in the beginning of my arrest, it was known in the West. And Ceausescu, under this pressure, decided not to sentence me to death. They changed the article, and they put me under the article to be sentenced to 10 years in prison. But Ceausescu asked the Securitate to kill me in the first 2 years. And they told me this. They said, Comrade Ceausescu is very unusual. He decided not to sentence you to death, but to be killed in the first 2 years. And be sure to accomplish the order for Comrade Ceausescu. And I'm sure they were convinced. But I was thinking my soul, my mind, God is stronger than Ceausescu, and then nothing against his will. Nevertheless, I was not scared by death. And during my imprisonment, I tried to wish very much to be killed, to be tortured and killed, to be kind of martyr. And this thought persecuted me for a long time. I really just wanted very much to become martyr. I was thinking of the martyrs during Roman persecution. And I started to be proud to be a martyr at that. And little by little I realized that this desire to become a martyr, it was not from God, but not from Jesus Christ. It was a devil in me, a demon, trying to persuade me that it is very good for many people, for my memory, to die like a martyr. And I gave up this prayer. They judged me. My wife knew nothing about my trial. Nobody knew about it. And they judged me and sentenced me to 10 years. And they sent me in a prison called Gilava. Gilava is a prison underground. There are 7-8 yards of earth on it. It was a hospital for the crazy inmates. And they put me in this hospital for mental illness, and put me with 2 crazy inmates. They were not that dangerous, but they made all kinds of things. And they tried to influence me by their madness. And little by little to change my normal attitude and to borrow their support, But this also was new in the West, and after 3 months, I was moved to Aiud. Aiud is in the north of Pennsylvania, is a very, very old prison, and very bad conditions. I was isolated in a cell, absolutely alone, for 7 months. I see no other man except the guards. I heard no words except the insults of the guards. They were instructed to insult me all the time. Sometimes they hit me, but not too bad. I was accustomed to this. But these guards were instructed to hit me in the most sensible points of my soul, to insult me as priest, to curse Jesus Christ, to mock of my past, because I was all the time there, and to disturb me every time, not to let me to concentrate or to meditate or to make in peace my prayer. I was watched all the time through a Judas who was in the door, and it was very difficult because I have everything in myself. I mean, I have the one thing myself, I have myself for physical necessity, And all the time I was watching my dog. It was impossible for me to make a gesture to go to the restroom for my physical necessity without being watched. And it put me in ashamed me very much. And I knew that. They wanted to torture me psychologically, not by beating, psychologically. I had a mood board that was my bed during the night. During the day, it was good against the wall, and on the side to me, it was black and with some chalk from the walls. I could write on this board. At the beginning, I composed prayers because my mind was very sick after the interrogation. I was not able to understand, to remember the prayers. I tried to write again Our Father. I remember the Holy God completely. I remember Our Father, but prayers to the Mother of God or prayers of evening prayers, morning prayers, I forgot them. And I tried to make my own prayers. They entered my cell, he started me, they had beaten me and did not allow me to write. Then I started to make something else. Pascal is a philosopher, a mathematician, French mathematician. At the beginning, in his child, he loved very much mathematics. But his father wanted to make him a lawyer and confiscate all the books of mathematics. And at 12 years, he remade in his mind the geometry of Euclid. And I said, I'm 48 years old, 50 years old. I can make geometry I learned in high school. And really, I started to a point. What can I get on this point? It was possible to make anything. 2 points, just strike. 3 points, triangle. And so I started to remember the geometry. This put an order in my mind. I was obliged to think logically, to imagine, and this order completed my mind. But working with the geometry is a geometry in not in space, only surface. There's no flesh in this geometry, only lines and surfaces. It was a big cube. It was like a player. This or of 2 dimensions, not with 3 dimensions. With 2 dimensions, give me, make in my mind the spirituality. Because there was no flesh in this, no 3 dimension, nothing outside of the spirit and mind in the mind. So I succeeded to remember geometry, all the middle of the geometry in 2 dimensions. But the profit was really big for me. Not because I remember geometry. I forgot. But because it put my mind in order. And I was able to think logically, to go out of the pressure, psychological pressure. And so I started to remember all the prayers. Before to be arrested, I learned by heart the liturgy. Not the whole liturgy, because, the liturgy is like an ocean of prayers. The priest prays all the time in order. Only from time to time, islands went out to be here by the faithfully in the church. 18 years, some prayers, and so on. But in the rest of the time, the priest is submerged in this ocean of prayers. I was not able to learn all these prayers. but the islands, and the 15 years, and the places, so on, I learned by heart. The other the things I knew, but this place, we read in the order, I learned them by heart. So I was able to recite the liturgy in the cell. At the beginning, I started simple liturgy, thinking in my mind, answering to the Athenians, Lord have mercy, and so on. But with the time, I remember that in catacombs, the Christian performed the liturgy of the tomb of the martyrs. And I said to myself, this prison is full of martyrs, because thousands of Christians were killed in this prison. So everywhere I have some fables of the martyrs, and I can perform the true liturgy. I had no wine, but I remember that Jesus transformed the wine in the water into wine. I was sure that God would make the same pieces. So I had a small piece of bread, I had wine, I had my cup, and I decided to start to officiate the liturgy. And I did it. It was like the presence of the angels. I was sure, actually, also that during my liturgy, my cell was full of angels. They protected me. At the beginning, the guards came at my door. They insulted me. They made noise. They hit me. They started me trying to disturb me, not to pray. But in the end, they said, "He's a crazy man. Let him do everything he wants." And it was to my advantage. I was very quiet. I could perform, celebrate the liturgy. I took the communion, showed it to the body of the blood of Jesus Christ. I had no doubt. After I was freed, and people heard about this, it was a dispute between priests. If the liturgy, it was valuable, liturgy by me. Well, it was valuable piece or not. And I had a part of priest sustaining that the liturgy was real. I had some priests, even priests who were in prison the first time between 48 and 65, that did not admit my liturgy was real. I have no doubt, I'm sure. God considered liturgy, true liturgy, and the bread and water I was drinking was the blood and the flesh of Jesus Christ.